a force unbroken, with banners high and hearts awoken. The sound of pipes, our war is calling. Like thunderous waves, our duty is falling. Stand tall, together we fight, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity our hearts shall sing, the legacy of warriors through every reign. With battle cries we forge our fate, in fields of valor we elevate. As shadows loom, our spirits gleam. Brothers in arms, we are the dream. Fearless, we take the night, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity, our hearts shall sing, the legacy of warriors through every reign. As dawn breaks, we know our name.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday morning Paranormal Coffee Talk. I'm Nighthawk, and we have Eric backstage. And we are going to get into the disclaimer, and then we're going to get into the subject matter. Today's discussion is going to be about shadow people and haunted houses, and or haunted property, whatever, and then we'll go from there. God knows where we'll end up in today's conversation. We could end up in the North Pole, for all we know, visiting Santa Claus. Who knows? Especially since it's Christmas in July coming up. So, that being said, the disclaimer is Nighthawk High Strange's podcast channel on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Twitch and X and all the other channels that we're on. Declare fair use of any and all content under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which makes allowances for fair use for purposes such as criticism, parody, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, and entertainment value. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing for educational and personal use, tips the balances in the favor of fair use. Okay, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known herein as the Fair Use Act. Also, we use the UCut app for all of our video editing needs, and we use the Donna app for all of our music, which makes our intros and outros and music our sole ownership and is not a copyright violation in any way, shape, or form. Okay. That being said, let me take this off of here and say hello to everybody. Good morning, Eric.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I wish I could say I was awake, but I'm not.
Man, I don't know if it's my YouTube or what, but like everybody's stuff is like changed, so it's like I'm not used to seeing certain things. So I have to pay attention to who I'm talking to because, like, on my end, it's changed. On the StreamYard, it's correct. On my YouTube, it's weird.
What do you mean it's changed?
Like the names doesn't go the same, but the pictures are. They're just it's like weird.
Wow.
I noticed that last night too.
Well, there's been a lot of weird stuff happening with electronics today and yesterday. You know, a lot of signals being lost too on the internet. sporadically, which tells me that there's a hell of a cyber war going on apparently. Um,
Yeah.
because it's certainly not the damn sun solar flares and crap like that they're lying to us about. So, but I
Okay, so I'm
also
not the only one.
I heard a report too of I heard my youngest son tell Tracy this morning about a Chinese nationalist that returned to China after he charged and maxed out all his credit cards of over $140,000 and skipped
Mm,
out without paying them.
mm.
So, all you great people out there that support China, just remember that, okay? And remember that he skipped out on 140 grand that he refused, and he did it on purpose. He admitted it in a statement in a social media post before he left the country to go back to his motherland. And he said he basically won one for his motherland. So there's a lot of crap going on, and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, yeah, so I'm not the only one being affected here. Others are saying the same thing. Yeah, it's not your phone. I noticed that last night. It was like, this stuff is weird.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. So I wouldn't put it past a hack job, cyber
Mm.
warfare. But anyways, we're going to get into a couple different topics today. We're going to get into the shadow people. I know you've had some shadow figures around your place, Eric, which I'd be interested in hearing about again and again and again and again and again. Um, and I know there's several people in the chat that have had run-ins with shadow people, and I want to get everybody's insight on what their belief is, what they're dealing with when they see a shadow person. Okay, and then we'll get into a little bit of what I know about them because I dealt with them quite a bit in the shadow realm. So, oh, Corey, look at
Yeah,
that.
Corey, that's what I'm saying too.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I'm seeing it on everybody's as well. Hey, Marty. Yeah, yeah, it's
Anyways,
weird.
if you want to go ahead and just give a little bit of information about shadow people that you've dealt with on your investigations and stuff, and even on your own property, that'd be a great place to start.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been dealing with shadow beings all over this world. Mainly for me, it started my first time over in Iraq. Is when I really started dealing with shadow people. And I don't know if it's because that's when I first noticed it or took to heart on it, or if that's just when I first experienced it. I can't tell you. I don't know for sure. But that for me was where I first started to encounter shadow people or shadow beings, however it is you want to call it. Um, was over in Iraq when I was first time I was ever over there. So that always made me wonder: is this tied to the jinn? Is this tied to something else, or is it just something that was there and I just happened to see it when nobody else could? I don't know. You know, I've been in the military. I've been all over this world and experienced so many different things, but it was interesting. And the first one I saw was it was we was out in the desert, and I happened to look over to the side of my vehicle, and I seen this really long shadow like figure. I was like, "That's not a shadow from my vehicle. That's that's very humanistic." And I don't have a gunner up in the turret. We're all in the Humvee, so I was like, "Where the hell is this big, tall shadow thing going?" And I'm looking around, and there is nothing. There is no one there. So I chalked it up. Okay, it's just the angle of the sun. It's got to be my Humvee. But I mean, this thing was every bit of 6, 7 foot, um, human shadow-like figure, and
Hmm.
looked like it was standing on top of the shadow of my Humvee. So I mean, I literally thought, okay, it has to be my Humvee. It's hitting my gun turret just right or something. I don't know, and that's what I chalked it off to and went to going. Then I started, no matter where I go, I started seeing more. and more of these shadow people. Some of them regular human height, some of them taller. But the smallest one was roughly my height. I'm 69 inches tall. That's 5'9". Roughly my height and above is where I've seen these. I've never seen them above 7 foot. I've never seen them above 7 foot tall. But I've
Right.
seen them in old abandoned buildings. I've seen them in haunted houses. I've seen them in other haunted locations. I've seen them in graveyards. I've seen them along the roadside. I've seen them out here on my property. Um, I've never had one talk to me, Candy. I've never had one talk to me. They were always just like standing there watching me. That's been my experience. It's just like they're standing there trying to see what I'm doing. Now,
Hmm.
when I was
This
learning
is
that my
this is an actual picture I have up of a shadow being that was taken,
Mhm.
and it's taken during an investigation. And I just I got a glimpse of it out of my peripheral and clicked the camera that direction, and boom, that came up. But people report seeing all kinds of the Hat Man is a big one that people are seeing with red glowing eyes, which we'll get into that a little bit later in the subject. But yeah, a lot of what you're talking about, kind of resemble like something like this, I would imagine, because that's what I've seen a
yeah,
lot of, that kind of a shape.
yeah,
Not necessarily over
yeah.
6 feet tall, but average height. So, but yeah, I believe that it is some type of jinn as far as what you're dealing with over in the Middle East, because I've dealt with them over there too, and they are rampant. I mean, it's amazing how rampant they are in the Middle East.
No, they are. And then, like I said, that was my first time that I've actually recognized them. And I can tell you, man, that desert is chock full of some very weird crap. Uh, very
Yeah,
weird crap. Um, I've never had one talk, not a push those things were cool. Yeah, I mean, I've never had one talk to me. It's just like they're standing there watching what I'm dealing with. And
yep. They
that's
never
pretty much
talk.
what it's been every single time. And 9
Yep,
times out of 10, you're absolutely correct, William. I've caught them out of my peripheral vision. Very few times have I've actually been able to look full on board and see it. It's always been as soon as I turn my attention to it, it's gone.
exactly. Yep.
And that's most of the time. I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. I'm hearing thunder, which means we're going to get stormed on great.
Yeah,
The Hackman, I've often wondered if the Hackman was tied to these things because I agree that seems to be a common occurrence when people are talking about shadow people is the Hackman. It makes you
exactly.
wonder. Hey, Kirk.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, and it makes you wonder what kind of. And I hate to use this terminology, but it's almost like a modern twist put on to a belief of the jinn when it comes to the Hat Man.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because all the sightings previously, before people started seeing the Hat Man with the red glowing eyes, um, it was just a regular silhouette with you couldn't make out if it had clothing on or whatnot. You could just make out that it was humanoid looking. It had a head, a torso, arms, and legs, and that's pretty much all you could make out. Whereas nowadays, you're getting all these reports of detailed descriptions of the hat and the red glowing eyes, and and all that. And it's amazing how things have escalated in the development of the shadow people being seen. What do you think about that? What do you think's causing that?
Man, I just think it's a type of spiritual entity, either supernatural or spiritual. And then the reason why I leaned a little bit more towards the supernatural is because they don't really seem to interact with you besides watching you. They don't talk. You don't, you know, Urso asked here, could you feel anything from it? Oh, she was talking to Maureen. Whenever I thought about it, because every time I've seen these things, I've never felt anything coming from these things, which is the point where I was like, okay, it's supernatural because even
Hmm.
paranormal, you can feel an energy from it. And these things absolutely have never put off any type of energy, good, bad, ugly, in between, nothing. Not even a hey, dickhead, what are you doing? Nothing.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just like the things are there like they don't exist? Are they looking at us from a mirror from another dimension? Is that a possibility? Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. Explain why
That's
doesn't give off any energy.
that's exactly what I was going to get into too, because when I was a child growing up, and I was playing out in the middle of summertime out in the yard, as little boys will play with their cars and their trucks and stuff or whatnot in the dirt. And I was standing there, sitting there leaning against the side of the hill, playing as a child. I think I was like probably must have been 6, 7 years old, and something told me to look at these two trees, and these two trees were sitting by themselves, separated by probably 30 feet. Okay, say 10, yeah, say 10, roughly 10 yards, about 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And from this tree over here to this tree over here went in the middle of broad daylight in 90-degree temperatures, went the darkest shadow figure I ever saw in my life. Okay. And it moved so silently and so quickly behind the second tree, where it peeked out around the tree and was watching me. Not once did it try to interact with me. It literally just stayed there and watched me. I had one incident in my entire life growing up on the property where I had one literally pick me up as a child and toss me. But looking back at it, I can tell you right now that it was more of probably a protective thing to do that, because at the time I didn't notice that there was a copperhead snake nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when it tossed me in the opposite direction of where the snake was. So are these things kind of like our guardians? Are they our watchers? Are they the watchers? Are they the fallen
Uh,
ones, the watchers? I mean, it seems to me like that's all they do is they watch us. They don't really interact with us physically that much.
Yeah, maybe Nisha. And and that's the interesting thing because even with angels and demons, I could feel their energy. And these things
Exactly.
absolutely have no energy, none. Which was what blows my mind about these things. I mean, I've faced some evil crap out in this world. I've experienced some really evil.
Hmm.
I mean, you felt that one that I was feeling on that werewolf investigation, and I
Hmm.
knew right then and there, this ain't the werewolf that I'm hunting for. This is something very old,
Yeah.
very
Very
ancient,
ancient. Yeah.
very
Very ancient.
powerful.
Yep. Yep.
And so I mean, I've dealt with stuff like that, and it's bad. When they got that kind of energy, you're feeling it through my life. I mean, it's like, wow. And these things have absolutely nothing. I could go into a building and tell you, but I damn near how many ghosts are in that building and what kind of mentality they're on. And these things absolutely have nothing. And that's what I'm going, what is these things? That's what baffles me about the shadow people. What are they? Because I mean, we've talked about mirrors multiple times on here. And when the strange things that happens in mirrors and what you can do with mirrors and stuff like that. Then when we were in Iraq, we got a thing called the Looking Glass. It's a alien artifact from Anunnaki time frame from ancient Sumeria, and you put it in certain energy level or certain energy spots in the earth. I mean, it could be up in the air, it could be on the ground, it could be in the water, on the water. It could be anywhere. It could be in a cave. I mean, wherever this energy appears, so you stick this mirror there, and it gives you like I think it's 15,000, 150,000 different scenarios, something like that. I can't remember. It's a 15. It's in the thousands and above time amount of different scenarios of the future that can come out and play. Um, is this what they're using to watch us? Is that what the looking glass is? Is their way of looking out upon us? I don't know. It's the only thing that I can explain why you have absolutely you cannot feel these things. It's purely you see it.
Yeah. And it literally takes in order for you to focus on them, you literally need to have your peripheral vision see them first so you can have the ability to focus on them. That's one thing that I've noticed when dealing with shadow people, and shadow beings, is you
Mhm.
literally need to focus on the peripheral and then focus on looking at them. That's
Yeah.
the only way you can make the connection. Otherwise, you're not going to see them. They're just going to be a fleeting glimpse, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know
And
what
that
everybody else thinks.
and that's funny because even I don't know how many times I've seen them in my peripheral vision. I've instantly turned to them and they were gone. It's like they only want you to see them, let you see them when they want you to. If they don't want you to, and you caught sight of them, they disappear quick. So, Candy, I absolutely have no idea. I actually have no idea what these things are. I've never been able to figure that out. They are
Well,
definitely
I've got
something that
a,
is stranger than
yeah,
anything else out
I've got an idea about it, but I don't, you know, I know of the shadow realm from being there firsthand and interacting and seeing all the different shadow type figures that are there, which are a hell of a lot more than what people know about. There's some psychics out there that have experienced what I've experienced, but very few. Like I said, I've talked about it before with the jellyfish shadow things that literally suck your energy like an
there.
energy vampire. The
Yeah.
little ones that grab you around the bottoms of your legs and try to trip you up and stuff, almost like a shadow gremlin type of a thing.
Mhm.
And then you have your humanoid looking ones, and then you have your spider ones, which
Mhm.
are very, very frightening, especially as a child. There's several different types of shadow entities, I guess is the best way to call it, because you don't want to call them beings,
Mhm.
because you call them beings, you're thinking of two legged, two arms, and a head and a torso, you know. So I'll just call them shadow entities. But
Yeah.
the ones that I see that are in human form, um, they're not the type to really mess with us. As far as, I mean, they would probably, some of them would probably be like the Hat Man has been, for example, is there to probably scare you. Maybe they draw energy off of our fear, like an energy vampire. Um, but that's the only thing I can describe as far as being violent. I've never, other than being tossed that one time out of the way of a poisonous snake, I can honestly say I've never experienced really any physical harm from them. It's just been more of the, watching from a distance, you know. I don't know. I don't know what to think
Yeah.
about them.
I don't know because I mean I've heard of people encountering the hat people, and you can feel their negative energy about them. And these shadow peoples have nothing to 'em, you know. They unreal. Um, it's just man, they're bizarre. I mean, these things are straight up bizarre,
Hmm.
and but I've never I've never yeah, it is, Roxanne. The thunder's coming in, the darkness, the wind's picking up. Yeah, it's getting ready to hit us hard, Roxanne. Here, I mean, the thunder's all rumbling to the north of me, coming in quick. Um, and I've never had one try to do anything malicious to me. Never tried to harm me. It's just like they're observing me. Is it because is it because that I have I'm in tune to the gift of discernment? Hey, overbuilt, where most people ain't, and so they're kind of curious of what my abilities are. I don't know. I just know they're not seen by everybody, just a select few, and it just quinky dink. The first time I was, first I don't remember if it was the first time or I think it was the first time I was in. Yeah, it had to be the first time I was in Iraq. It was when I encountered these things for the first time. Could they have been watching me my whole life, and I just never knew about it up until that moment? I mean, that was a high tense moment. I mean, your nerves are going 90 to nothing. Your field of vision is on lock because you don't know what's coming at you. I mean, your heart's a pounding most of the time. Your nerves are just going 90 nothing because you're ready to react to any situation that comes at you out of nowhere. is because of that heightened ability, your heightened mindset, physical, mental, and spiritual self in a situation, in a high stress situation like that. Is that what caused me to see it for the first time and been able to see it since? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, Ursa, that kind of an endowed power is not questioned by me. Trust me. With what I've been through, my friend. Um, yeah, there's a lot to being said about physically being able to control and entities and stuff, and just as much as the human being can be possessed and controlled. I am a firm believer that certain humans have certain abilities that can control the entities. So otherwise, you wouldn't have reports throughout certain religious beliefs about golems, and stories of the Fae working for mortals. So yeah, there's a lot to be said about it, and I want to say hello to Johnny. The pointed hat shadow figure that he's talking about is like a gnome figure, and they're
Mm.
gnomes can be very, very violent, very, very dangerous and deadly. Um, they're also in native culture called water babies. Okay,
Mm.
because they're a type of fae that hangs around the water's edge in the forest. So they are definitely a type of a shadow figure. Um,
Mhm.
but there's several. I mean, I can't even begin to like remember all of them. There were so many different types that when I walked into the shadow realms and stuff, doing ceremonies and stuff, that the interactions, most of the time they would leave me alone. The only ones that wouldn't leave me alone were the spider entities and the jellyfish entities. The rest of them would leave me alone because they knew I had a power in order to be there. And
Mhm.
they don't want to come up against your power. They want to zap your energy. They want to drain you like a vampire would drain you, for the most part. So that's why I kind of think the Hat Man, maybe the Hat Man is a combination of people's fears being opened up and manifesting that type of a shadow person because of their fear, and it's developed itself and gotten stronger over the years of collecting all that fear energy from people. Kind of like the theme of Monsters Inc.'s cartoon that Disney put out, you know, with the fear factor, for getting little kids to scream, in the dark and just bottling up that energy. It's kind of the same thing. That's what I'm thinking.
You're fine, overbuilt. Don't worry, buddy. I accidentally put Stuart's name in there instead of yours. You're good, buddy. Uh, no, so yeah, no, I mean these things. I kind of agree. I think the hat people is something else, and I think it's a self manifestation. I really do because you don't hat people sightings don't go back very far, but
Exactly.
shadow people sightings have been seen and talked about through ancient history. And that's kind of, huh,
Door
I
just
don't know if
opened.
it's my eyes playing tricks on, huh?
Did your door just swing open a little bit?
No, I just had a. I don't know if it was the edge of my eyeglasses or what, but I turned and all I seen was like a big dark figure in my doorway, and then it went in towards the bathroom there. Um, so I don't know if it was the edge of my eyeglasses, it just caught it just right or what. But I mean, I was kind of turning like this and seen a dark figure, and then snow comes running in.
Huh.
Um,
Well, snow would be, remember nowadays, our pets and stuff, especially dogs, are getting really, really tuned into the supernatural, what's going on in the world nowadays. So, take it as
These
a
dogs
forewarning.
here.
Yeah, maybe the dogs are a device to keep you let you know that something's there. When you can't see it. So
Yeah, I mean, these dogs would be literally snoring and wake up, start going nuts and looking out the window. Which I mean, I've got Bigfoot to come up to my window. I've got supernatural, spiritual stuff all over. I mean, so I mean, that's nothing new. I mean, but they can be laying there literally snoring, and these guys can snore pretty good. Hey, John, aside, and they'll just wake up, start barking out the windows or barking at the living room. Here we go. That was the one where I left off there. Thinking of CERN and other letter groups opening portals and pumpkin energies in the atmosphere, and I think more people learn. And how about several things has given more. And that, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, these shadow entities are way older than CERN. Um,
yeah,
and it's the
yeah,
same. It's the same thing. Nobody talks about an energy, negative, positive, anything. It's like they just happen to see it. 99% or 98% of the time, it's out of the corner of their eyes, like what I just had happen there. Which I have to, because I wear glasses, I have to consider that's probably what it was. But who's to say it could have been? Um,
right,
but even throughout history, they say the same thing. It's like it's nothing evil, nothing malevolent. It's just like something that was there. So I don't know if they're the same thing or not. But these things are. I mean, now, as far as your hat people, I think there's been stories pre-CERN on those, if memory serves me correctly, but I could be wrong. I may be thinking of the Shadow Kids, the not the dark eyed kids, but the little kid shadow people. They have a very evil feel about them. But that could be what I'm thinking of as pre-CERN. So I don't know. I mean, I have to look into it again.
yeah. The timing of the Hat Man and CERN being activated, I think, is going to be off by about at least 10 years. So if CERN did anything, it made the ability for these supernatural entities to cross over into our world a lot easier than what they normally could. I think that's
Mhm.
why we're seeing them so frequently anymore. That and the fact that we have all these other agencies and secret corporations out there that have these what I call garage scientists, working on top secret crap to mess with timelines and dimensions and portals and God knows what else. Then you put all the dark arts on top of it, and you've got a melting pot of just everything supernatural can happen, literally. So, and we all know by working a Ouija board, you just got to leave the Ouija board open one time, and you're going to have
Yep.
all kinds of stuff come through. So
And
you
it
have
ain't
to
cool.
learn. Yeah, when it comes to doing black art and stuff and magic, you need to learn how to close things and close them properly.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing about the Ouija board, I honestly don't think it was designed as what its purpose is now. But I think of people really believing into it actually fed it its power because we can do that. We can turn anything into very similar to a Ouija board's power just
Well,
from your thinking.
spirit boards have been around for literally
Yeah,
thousands of years. Okay, literally. I mean,
mhm,
they were using spirit boards back in the days of Jesus when Jesus was walking the
yeah.
earth.
But
So
Ouija,
they just didn't call them Ouija boards back then. Um,
yeah,
so yeah,
uh,
they've been around for quite a while.
yeah. Spirit boards have just not a Ouija board. I think we just gave the power to the Ouija board. Um, Corey wants to know: are any of you familiar with the Dero? I've noticed that many Hatman encounters people describing the long nosed Dero with Hatman. I am not.
Duro, he's talking. I believe he's talking about the medicine um, shadow person. That is basically the story comes from Italy, I think, um, which is a shadow person that has basically they had a medicine person back in the old days in Italy or in the country around Italy and Greece and all that that was called Duro, and he wore a mask with an elongated nose on it, a black mask, and he would travel from small communities and treat people for illnesses and stuff. Um, I'm not sure if it was part of a ritual type of a healing, which I almost believe it was, but I think that's where that figure came into being in what he's talking about. And there have been more accounts of seeing this shadow figure with this elongated, almost like a bird's beak nose coming out of its face. And
Hmm.
but I always thought that that was more of a European thing than an American thing.
Oh, Stuart, we've talked about Hat Man on here a couple times. Hey, Marcy. Yeah, we've talked about Hat Man on here a couple times, not in depth. I don't. I think we've had one show that really we. I think we've talked about it for about 30 or 40 minutes on one show. But usually
Yeah,
it's like a few minutes here there or referencing to something else. But yeah, we've talked about Hat Man a few times.
yeah,
Yeah, Marcy, them things are pure evil. I messed with one time, and ever since then, I've had nothing but bad crap happen to me. And I wasn't the one that was directly interacting with it; other people were. I was just
you
there
got
because, well, there was a pretty chick there and had an opportunity to get some extracurricular activity. So, I mean, I was there.
see, Marcy, you bought the wrong board. That's what you did. You bought a Ouija board. I told you to buy a Luigi board. A Luigi board, not a Ouija board, a Luigi board.
Yeah. Jonaside, that honestly, when he was describing that, that was exactly where my mind went to was the plague mask. I ain't gonna
Hmm.
lie. When he was talking about it, that's exactly where my mind went to was the plague mask.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was going to call it, but I think it's two separate things altogether over there in Italy. I do know that they had the plague mask that they wore, but I believe what he's describing is the and I'm not sure if it's just folklore or if it's actual physical history from physical blood, flesh and bone doctors going and visiting towns and stuff in Italy, but there or if it was just like a supernatural type of a being that would do the visitation. So that's kind of unclear with what I know about it, but as far as I know, they the plague mask is different altogether from what Corey is talking about. So
Yeah. Hey, Machete. No, Stuart, to answer your question, we talked about it here on Williams' show. I haven't done a whole lot on Hat Man because, I mean, yeah, I've heard of him, but there's really not a whole lot of encounters of Hat person. It's usually the black-eyed children or shadow people. That's the ones you hear the most. There is talks about the Hat Man, but nothing near the level as these other.
right, right. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Well, we was at a local graveyard when we did ours. I mean, I was 17 years old. I had a '79 Ford F100 Ranger. It's a 400 B8 big block. I made farm truck cool before farm truck was cool. And there was just a local chick I went to school with. I was kind of digging real hard, and she's like, "Come out with us to do this. We're going to be drinking and having a little bit of broccoli and." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, man, okay, okay," because I was like, man, tonight's going to be a fun night with this chick, you know? Yeah, no. That was a bad mistake. That was a very bad mistake. And I wasn't even the one part. I didn't believe in it. I laughed at it. I was like, "Oh, bull crap!" The shit that popped in images that popped in my head when that thing was opened, the literally hell on earth that I was seeing through my eyes. I mean, it wasn't actually happening. It was just what was in my vision when this thing opened up. I've never associated with myself with one after that. That
Mm,
was enough for me to go, this is not good. This is not good at all.
yeah.
So, I mean, literally, I was,
I got so used to seeing the shadow people and the shadow figures around where I grew up that it was literally second nature to me. It was nothing to see them on a daily basis, and sometimes even like several times throughout the day, and the evening. So yeah, I got really used to dealing with them, and I can honestly say though, except for the one time when it tossed me out of the way, it they only observe. They don't really.
mhm,
They didn't even really try to intimidate me. And I don't know if it's because they knew that I had power because of the dark arts Native American ceremonies that I was being taught as a child, growing up, and doing the walker ceremonies and giving the flesh offerings as a child and stuff. That kind of stuff is, nowadays it's pretty much unheard of, but back then it was pretty common. If you had a parent that was into the Native American dark culture, the dark arts, and
mhm.
but just interacting with them on a daily basis meant basically that they just observed from a distance. I think the closest interaction I had was when I got tossed the one time when I was 7 years old. But all the other times, I mean, sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night and they'd be standing around the bed, but they'd just be watching me. They wouldn't be reaching for me. They wouldn't, you know what I mean? They wouldn't be trying to pull me out of the bed and into the closet or under the bed. Some of these screwed up videos you see on social media where these kids are getting pulled under the beds and screaming and stuff. It's ridiculous. I really don't think that for the most part that they are malevolent. I think they have something to do with the energy that we put off, that they require that energy to maybe go in and out of realms or dimensions, and that's why they are seen so much in our world. Maybe certain people see them all the time and get used to them, and it's like you don't miss the energy anyways, especially when you're a child, because you got so much piss and vinegar anyways. You're not going to worry about it. um
Yeah.
so I don't know. Maybe that is some of the rationalization for why they're being seen more, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to children.
I need to top off my coffee, but I want to hit this up real quick and then we'll get Machete's question. Machete's got a good question, which I've experienced multiple times myself. But she said a girl told me a weird story of her being pulled off the end of her bed. She played with that board. That's not a weird story. That actually happens. Very, very often. That actually happens. So, I mean, I can see that being a believable story because there is I can't even tell you how many reports of that very same thing happening to him. Not just with messing with that board, but messing with that board as well. So if she said that happened to her after playing with it, I can definitely see that as being a very good possibility of being true.
Yeah,
Definitely on that one.
and then again, it comes down to knowing how to close it out. Because if you don't
Mm,
close a Ouija board out the right way, or any spirit board, you're leaving a doorway and a gateway open for anything to come through. And trust me,
yeah,
anything will come through. And usually 99.9% of the time, it's something you do not want. because you do not know how to
If you don't,
control it. So
if you don't mind,
yeah,
I'm gonna fill on coffee real quick, and then we can get back. Christopher or Machete's got a couple questions here. This
all
is the
right.
first one, but I need to get some more coffee real quick.
Sleep paralysis. That sleep paralysis is oh, that's a little bit too big. Hold on. I'm putting him back up there. I'm just going to mute his mic. There we go. And sleep paralysis, I'm not altogether sold that it's actually a legitimate medical thing. I do believe that it has some attachment to the supernatural. Um, when you have kids and adults that have terrifying nightmares to the point where you literally feel like you cannot move, like you're being held down in the bed. It's it can't just be labeled as a medical uh, condition, as far as I'm concerned. It's got to have something to do with the psyche, whether it's your own personal psyche or whether it's supernatural um, energies working on your body. Because we all know that we have an energy field around our body, okay? And it basically can be affected by a lot of supernatural type of beings, okay? So when it comes to sleep paralysis, I'm about 50-50. You know, sometimes it is a legitimate medical thing, and other times I believe that it is influenced by the supernatural. So it's kind of a toss up. It really is, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And for me, my personal experiences, I've had sleep paralysis multiple times. Now, I'm not a mainstream health nut's going to tell you, oh, it's because your body did this, this, and this. Because every single time I've ever had that happen to me, there was an extremely evil presence in the room, felt energy being sucked from my body. And in my head, I kept going, leave this place. You're not welcome here by the power of Yahuwah. To the point that I can barely get it out. And it was coming to a whisper. Then I was able to shout it, and it was gone. Every single time I've had sleep paralysis, it's been that thing, and I've had sleep paralysis at least 30 or 40 times. Now I got an extremely high level of energy within me, and if you believe that the energy vampire deal, they feed upon people like me because I can't wear expensive watches because I'll burn them up. I've got such a high
Mhm.
energy output of bugs. So that's I, that's for me. That's what I look at.
Yeah,
Wanted to
definitely.
address this real quick. That is actually a gin. There's a gin that's called a toe grabber. Um, it's called something else, but basically it's a toe grabber. But if you actually study gins and different types of gin, you're going to see a gin that does that very same thing, and it actually it feeds energy through your toes, your feet. Uh, I'll have to get caught up here. Okay, yeah, Marty, I would too. I mean, I would 100% too because of just what I've known and or what I've heard and on several occasions. Yeah. Um, yes. There's also a gin that will sit on your chest that feeds off your energy. So this is interesting. Okay, we were just talking about sleep paralysis, right? There
Hmm.
literally is a gin that sits upon your chest and sucks the life out of you, and you can't move, you can't shout out, you
Well,
can't do nothing. What's that?
that's the same thing as succubus. Succubus does the same thing.
Yep, exactly, exactly. Um, yeah, knock knock. I've heard the knock knock. Yeah, I've heard the knock
Hmm.
knock. That was a long time ago, but I've heard of the knock knock. Yeah, I'm trying to get caught up on your guys' make sure I ain't missing no questions, but I don't want to miss you guys' comments at the same time. Um, oh, Here we go. We got one. Well, why is my thing not working? Huh? There it goes. There. How do you feel? How do you know if the board is closed? You'll literally feel like the energy, the evil energy that comes out of this thing, like dissipate quick,
Yeah,
rapidly.
it'll shut down. It'll literally shut down. And then if you want to go even a couple steps further, you can also wrap the board in red cloth with sage and tie it together with twine and store it in a manner to where it won't be exposed to where people can handle it. Anything that we as indigenous people do, or at least my bloodline, my family have done, we always take objects that we feel have detrimental energy to that could be possibly used to harm us in some way, shape, or form. We would not only would we close it through a ceremony and a blessing, but we would also take and we would wrap it in red cloth with sage, cedar, sweetgrass, whatever we had at the time, and we would bind it. Okay, we would lash it together with the red cloth, and then we would actually take it and we could actually either bury it in the ground or we could just put it somewhere to where it wouldn't affect people. But yeah, that's taking it. That's taking the actual closer of a spirit board or the Ouija board a little farther than you have to. But if you know that nothing good has come from that session, you're probably better off closing the board that way. Okay. And not ever opening it again. So that's just my 2 cents in the matter.
I can tell you, the friend of mine that had a Ouija board, when we tried to burn it, we've tried to throw it away. We've tried to do many different things with that damn thing, and I always thought it was just a bunch of bullarchy. I can tell you firsthand that damn thing does come back.
Oh, it does.
It
That's why
does.
you said you don't burn it. First off, burning it
Mhm,
makes that doorway and portal open all the time. Okay, literally. That's why you have so many. You got to picture it this way: when you have a house fire and somebody tragically dies within that fire, okay,
mhm,
that is a portal opening. Okay, every time you go to a cemetery with the tragedy and some of the tragedy as far as the deaths occurred with the people buried there,
mhm,
that is portal energy. Okay,
mhm,
we as human beings have really no comprehension of or idea of how many portals are in this world.
yeah,
And it's like literally almost 95% of them are hidden so well and in certain locations that when you're messing with stuff like this, or you're delving into the dark arts a little bit because you want to feel cool, and go with the in crowd. um you have no idea what you're calling forth, what you're opening, because those portals already exist. Okay, because of the
mhm,
trauma, the tragedy, the death, the despair, the sadness, the heartache, you know the hatred and the frustration that comes with all these deep dark emotions, lock that place down like a house fire where somebody dies. And
mhm,
darn well that's why they tell you, don't build a new home on top of an old foundation.
mhm,
It's the same principle, because you're going to open it up again. Okay, and odds are, if you build a house on top of a house that burnt down on the same foundation, that house isn't going to stand very long. The
mhm,
cycle will repeat itself, plain and simple.
mhm,
And there's nothing you can do to control it. Okay, it is literally considered a universal energy. Okay, and that's literally just going to be a vicious cycle over and over again if you keep on doing it that way. So the best way to
mhm,
do it is not to burn it, not to introduce it, not to throw it in a garbage can. But the best thing to do is to wrap it in the red cloth, okay, with sage, cedar, sweetgrass, whatever you want, sea salt as a binder, and then twine it together with sinew or some type of cordage that's going to last, and then just bury it in the ground somewhere where nobody will find it. You know, the Amish people, very good story. Okay, here's a good example. The Amish people in Pennsylvania, I'm not going to disclose the location because I know them personally. Um, they had an incident in Pennsylvania several years ago, about 25, 30 years ago, I think, if not more, where an Amish individual had passed away. And what they normally do is that, it's kind of like a Native American thing. When we pass away, or we feel like we need to have a giving ceremony, a wopila. Okay, a wopila is a giving ceremony. The Amish kind of do the same thing. When somebody passes away, they gift them things that person had, as saying thank you for being a part of our family and helping us out through the years. Well, this person that passed had a questionable kind of a witchcraft type of a reputation about them. And instead of getting rid of their belongings a certain way that they should have, one of the family members, the surviving family members, took it and recycled the wood into making new furniture, okay, and sold it in his shop, okay, to other Amish families, okay, and outside people too, that visited his shop. Well, one thing led to another, and eventually these people started returning the furniture that they bought from him because paranormal things started happening. Poltergeist activity started happening. Okay. Things started being moved and thrown across the rooms, levitated objects, fires would start just out of nowhere. All kinds of, really weird and bizarre stuff was going on paranormal wise. And finally, the elders of the Amish community got together with the head, I don't know, the deacon of the family, the church got together, and they decided to tell this guy to bury the remainders of the wood in the ground, on the property where the people lived. And he didn't do that. He burned it. And when he burned it, he released all that traumatic energy from that tragic death, okay, and that darkness about that individual's past, okay. All that was released into the atmosphere, into the environment of that community. And from that, just basically snowballed in certain things happening to certain families in that community. And finally, they took the remainders of the wood that wasn't burnt all the way, and they literally had to bury it underneath a tree and plant a tree over top of it. To this day, that tree that was planted over top of it does not grow leaves at all. It's not dead, but it's not alive either. Figure that one out.
Oh yeah, there's actually several stories of stuff like that happening. Marcy says, "Why are only certain people attacked by sleep paralysis?" I somewhat covered that. I think me personally, I think it's due to high energy. But I mean, I can't give you a definitive answer. For me, I mean, I can just tell you my experience, and I've got high energy, and that's what I've been focused on. And like I
All
said,
right.
I've had it happen to me like 30 times throughout my life.
I think it has to do with
right?
a little bit of fear too, though. I think it has to do with
Mm,
emotional blockages too, not just energy levels. We all know that the even the word fear can invoke certain things that
mm,
happen to the human body, to the biological system. You can you can have shallow breathing and cold sweats from even thinking about the word fear if you live off of it. So that could have something to do with it. But yeah, it does affect everything, affects the energy of the human body. We are literally
mm.
a battery for this world. That's why we're here. We are literally being sucked, drained dry, you know, energy and soul completely the entire time we're here. That's why they have us here. Okay. That's why everybody talks about the matrix and the simulation and all that, and how the human body is basically cattle to whatever entities that rule this realm. You know, that's literally it. So yeah, I tend to think that fear does have a play into it.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good part of it too. I don't know enough about it. I just know it happens, and I know is there medical reasons that can explain sleep paralysis to a degree? Yes, but I don't believe that every single one of them is based off of that because my experience alone tells me something completely different. Um, um, Roxanne says, this is interesting because we may have covered this a couple months ago. Last night, I kept hearing a metal door open and close several times. Then it stopped, and I was awake. Who has covered metal doors opening and closing out in the middle of nowhere? Hmm. I think it might be us.
Yeah.
The weirdness of that. I mean so Roxanne, riddle me this. Do you have any metal doors? I know I'm way behind on the chat, so I'll have to answer it here or get your question in a minute. Do you have any metal doors in your home? That is going to be one of the first questions I want to know.
Dun, dun, dun,
Cynthia,
dun, 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 dun,
that
dun, dun,
is
dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Go ahead.
okay. No, she has no metal doors. So you're hearing no metal doors in your home in the middle of the night. One, two, something's coming for you. I mean, I'd be definitely trying to figure out what the heck that is coming to mess with you, man.
uh,
I'd be like, nope, nope, that guy's not messing with that. Where the hell is that coming from? If you had no metal doors in your home, I would be definitely trying to figure out where that's coming from.
yep.
Cynthia, I've had sleep paralysis 3 times, and all when visiting the same person. I'd be worried about that person. I'll be
Yeah.
worried of what they actually are or what's attached to them, which is what's causing it. And that would be the two most common things. If you're having sleep paralysis, you're visiting the same person, either they're not what they're perceived to be, or something's attached to them.
Or it could be attached to their home or their certain object within the home.
Yeah, 9, stop. Yeah, I agree. But when I say attached to them, that's what I mean too is the home. So I'm sorry, I should have clarified that because your home is essentially you as well. So when I say attached to you, I mean your possessions as well. Someone I knew got put on new medication and had spirits in robes around the bed during sleep paralysis. I've actually heard that before. Not with them being on medication, but I have heard of the robed spirits before during sleep paralysis. I can tell you now,
Oh,
each time I've done it,
that could be a bad acid trip.
yeah, for me, the feeling I got every time I had it was like a female vampire type entity sucking power from me. That's honestly each time I've had it happen. And it's not been several different times. It's the same entity every single time. Every single
Succubus.
time, it's the same entity. It could be a succubus. Absolutely, it could be a succubus. Yeah. But I can tell you now, every time I've had it, it's been the exact same entity that's done it because it's never changed. It's always been the same. And when you haven't had it have it happen to you as much as you have, you get familiar with that energy. Little liquid spirits. Yeah, I'll give you that one, David. I'll give you that one. Liquid spirits has been known to put me in a comatose state for 3 days because I was dumb enough to do a two-story beer pong with Australian
David's
4X beer.
David's having those sleep paralysis because of Melissa hiding his snacks on him.
I thought it was Melissa knocking him out for him running his mouth. Oh, you want to run your mouth, boy? Ow! That was
Uh,
oh, uh, I had it right after my husband passed with cancer. I was living in the apartment he passed away in. Oh, you had it right after. Oh, Marcy. I don't think it's going to be your husband. I think it's just a coinky dink. I think with your husband gone, opened you up to how do I put this nicely? Being taken advantage of, I guess is a good way to put it.
it also depends on how her heart was at the time. If she was actually, you know, um, very, very empathy wise, is a powerful energy. And sometimes when we have tragic loss, um, we don't realize we're putting off that energy to
Mhm.
invite something to come in and harass
Mhm.
us or to make our lives miserable. And sometimes these supernatural entities will take advantage of that. Um, and I know because I've talked to Marcy about the situation quite a bit, and
Mhm.
you know I can definitely understand where she's coming from with that, with my condition. And but yeah, it's there's something to be said about the shadow people and the shadow beings and all that, and entities. But I don't think something deep inside me says that when we're dealing with shadow beings, at least, maybe not the entity aspect of it, but the shadow beings, the two-legged and the two-armed beings with a torso and a head, that they are just observers, that they are just there to watch and observe for some reason. Kind of like the reports of the Glimmer Man. Same concept basically, where they're there to observe from a distance and basically just, I don't know if they record what's happening. I don't know if it's affiliated with, some kind of time travel type of technology, that maybe these are literally beings from the future that have traveled back in time, to observe something during a certain time period to maybe change the future outcome. You know what I mean? So I just, there's that whole concept of it too, as far as that goes. Yeah, zombie
Yeah.
tree AI, very good. Yep, that's what they
Yep.
called the one that's still alive, but yet it's dead.
Yeah. I'm trying to get caught up on the comments here. Um. So that is a good possibility, and I think you're onto something a little bit there, Machete, because you got to think these things feed off of energy. And if you got someone that's living close to a power line, that's like an endless supply of energy dang near. So
Yeah,
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's a
and
great song. I had to stop using it because I was getting dinged every week, and Justin wasn't sending me the rights, so that I quit getting dinged. So that's why I started making my own. But yes, that song is actually very good for that. Yes.
The whole thing with the power lines too. If you think about it, power lines, electrical power lines, especially the big towers and stuff that you have when they go through, like say your backyard. Um,
Mm-hmm.
People that live around them are more susceptible to having cancer. So, you know,
Yeah. Kind of like
basically,
the cell phone.
right. Basically, what you're dealing with, I think, there is a parasitic type of a supernatural entity. Whenever you're dealing with a shadow person or a shadow entity around power lines, because to me, it just makes more sense that it's parasitic. That it may be even a symbiote, type of a parasitic. So,
Um,
hey, if
Corey,
Corey wants to come on, that's perfectly fine with me. You can put the link in the chat.
yep, I'll get him. I'll get it set up for you. Give me a second, Corey, and we'll get that put up for you, buddy. And there you go. Should be there. It is. There you go, Corey. Hit that up and let me know. I used to have panic attacks. See emotional blocks. Makes sense. I lost two babies, and yeah, I can see that, Marcy. I mean, your mental status can. People don't realize your mental status. When it's like fried from high stress, is a gateway for negative entities. Um,
Right.
so I can see that very much. Yes.
Oh boy, I'm
Yeah.
almost out of coffee. I got a half a cup left. Actually, about 2/3 of a cup. Oh well.
I'm reading the comments when I was messing with Roxy. I was being nice. No, man, I'd be worried if I'm hearing metal doors at night and I know I ain't got none. I'm like, no, the homie ain't playing.
Well, just imagine if you hear the metal doors at night and then you look out in the backyard and find a set of stairs in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, no shit. Yes. Yeah, always turn to Yahuwah. Yeshua and Yahuwah. Always turn to Yeshua and Yahuwah. They're going to be your number one shield against a lot of this stuff. Always turn to Yeshua and Yahuwah.
There's Corey.
See, he's coming up right here on the name, but in the chat, it's got his old school name. What you doing, Corey? What's up, Butterball? I missed you, but we can't hear you. Sound, homie. Have sound, homie. No sound. Pimp down. Pimp down. Get the pimp back. Mic up. Come on. I don't know why his sound ain't working. That's weird.
How about now?
I couldn't hear him.
Barely.
I could barely hear you.
How about now?
Almost. Keep going. Crank that bad boy all the way up. You sexy looking hunk of hand or man meat you. Nope. Damn, you got worse.
How's it getting
Yeah,
worse?
you got worse. I don't know. Hey, so you're on your cell phone.
Yeah.
You ain't got nothing Bluetooth on, do you?
Nope.
You're almost getting better doing that. Whatever you was doing.
Doing this.
Close out the casino site on your phone and you'll be fine.
You may have to go out and come back in. I don't know. Whatever you did that one time, it did get a little bit better, but we still barely hear you.
Let me go out and come back in.
Oh! There you go. What you doing? Say something again.
How about now?
That's a lot better.
That's a little bit better. It's still hard to hear you a little bit, but it is better.
I'm bad about keeping my computer charged up.
Barely. We're back to barely. It's like in and out, in and out, in and out.
Let me go out and come back in.
Yeah, bro.
Elvis has left the building.
Pimpalicious is leaving. I love messing with Corey.
Yeah, Corey's awesome.
He is. He's a solid dude.
Oh.
I'm trying to get caught up on the comments while we're. Yeah, yeah. Carl. Yeah, yeah. See where we go here. I don't want to get too much into that because that will you'll get people and you'll get us in trouble. Yeah. I've heard a lot of bad stuff, people living under power lines and cell phone towers. Yeah.
Don't forget Mothman. Mothman loves power lines.
Yeah.
And
but he
bridges.
don't go so you can't hear
and
him.
Bridges. But he might go.
I wonder if he goes week, week, week. I don't know. I've never heard him say anything. I don't know. Oh my gosh. I couldn't help myself. People were cracking up. And gosh, man, I love them movies. They were such good movies. African handful got cancer from the street. Yeah, you can get cancer for anything anymore. Ooh, that rumble. Hey, Monique. Yeah, dude, I hear that stuff too. I've heard it so much though, I just ignore it half the damn time. Yeah, it wasn't the cat that got his tongue; the spirits got his tongue. We're talking about several different things there, Forster. It's a combination of different stuff. We were talking about shadow people, Ouija boards, combination of different stuff. Mothman,
Yeah,
metal doors coming in after Roxanne.
Things that go bump in the night.
Things that go.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, look at Marcy. um,
Oh, my reason for not being right is all the caffeine right now because that's the only thing keeping me awake.
Yeah, Corey, give me a second. I'll put the link back in there again. Oops, it's wrong one. I want that. Actually, I guess I already had it saved. I don't know why I just redid it. Give me a second, buddy. Let's see if it's popping up. Yep, there it goes. It's in there now, buddy. Yeah, they do. I've actually seen one touch both wires and just poof, turned into a thing of darky, smoky, glittery.
When you put when you put that link in there, it's not coming up on my end of the YouTube channel and StreamYard. I had to post it on mine. I posted it on mine.
Oh, that's what I did. I posted it on yours, but I seen it popped up, so that's why I was like, okay, it's there. Huh. Pick on Corey Day. If we can get Pimpalicious to come on, we'll pick on Corey. Looks like he's uploading. There he is. Let's hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Barely. Yeah, dang. It's got to be something with your phone.
Take that duct tape off the microphone.
Yeah. Same. Barely.
We
hear
got
you.
by Corey a new phone.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think. What could be? Yes, it's showing up twice up on here.
How about now? How about now?
Same.
Give me just a minute and let me go open my shop doors.
Whatever you did just right there, that improved it a little bit. And most
You got to
something
get
would just
closer.
do is
He's got to get closer to the phone.
How about now?
yeah.
How about now?
Oh yeah.
Can you hear me?
So something with your mic. Yeah, for some reason your mic ain't turned up.
How about now?
Better.
Bad? Get better?
It's still. I mean, we can hear you. We just got to be silent when you talk.
Well, I hate to do that to you guys.
No, you're fine.
Do you know sign language? How about smoke signals? How about smoke signals, Corey? Put up some smoke signals.
I wonder what's going on. That's weird. It is something dealing with your mic though.
Man, I'm fixing to have to get a new phone.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I just can y'all hear me? What now?
Barely.
Anything now? Anything now?
Bounty says prop your phone up on something so the mic is on the bottom can pick you up better.
How about now?
There you
There
go.
you go.
Who said that?
Bounty.
Good job. Y'all were talking about sleep paralysis.
Mhm.
I became an aficionado because I used to suffer from it really, really bad. I mean, bad. I thought I was having epileptic seizures. And I didn't. At that point in time, there was any history of it. And finally, without even appeared in my life, but a lady friend of mine, who I call my medicine woman, told me I needed to start medicine. She's a real medicine woman. But anyway, and I wasn't even the rest of my life, and it went away. What it is
Oh, you're doing the same thing I was.
and you breathe through your mouth when you sleep and don't breathe through your nose. And I think that's what opens you up to dark energy attacks. When you put yourself in that state, it's the same state as sleep apnea. And I mean, it went away. I didn't even know it. I stopped snoring. I stopped having sleep paralysis, sleep apnea, all of it. It's your breathing in your sleep. You have to train your body and your mind to breathe in through your nose and out your mouth to keep it from opening yourself up to it. Basically, is what it is. Can you hear me still?
Barely.
Are we froze up?
Man, I tried I adjusted your mic settings some to see if that'd help, but it's not helping. So it tells me it's on your end.
Can y'all still hear me?
That's
There
a
you
lot
go.
better.
Yeah, you got to have the phone pretty much up to your mouth, so there's something wrong with your mic. I tried to adjust the mic settings on our end,
How about now?
and I thought it helped, but it didn't. Nope.
Okay. I'll
Carl says your pants are too tight, Corey.
huh?
I said, Carl says your pants are too tight. Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna get off here. I'll come back in some other time.
There you go. Whatever you're doing right there.
Right here.
yeah. What? That's the best you sounded.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how much of that y'all missed. I should have went out and opened the shop door.
No, go ahead and do that real quick. That'd help.
Okay. Be right back.
Um, yes. Well, I'm wondering if his mic, if something messed up with his mic. I don't know. I don't know what kind of phone he's got. So I don't know how to adjust the mic volume on his phone. Could be, or it's got pocket lint. But that rain's really coming down now. I was going to work on my lawnmower today. Daggone it. But okay, I just brain farted what we were
Sorry,
talking about.
about the sleep paralysis part of it.
Oh, yeah, man. I tried to adjust different settings on his on our end, so it's not our end. It's his. Um. Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Somewhat.
I think that
Hey,
phone
does
needs
your
to be
mic have
close.
pocket lint in it?
Huh?
Does your mic have pocket lint in it?
What's that?
Pocket lint?
Oh, pocket lint.
Yeah.
No. Any better?
Unreal says, oh yeah, there you go. What was that? Yeah, whatever you did there.
Really? How about now?
Oh, I hear you moving it around too much. When you move it, it picks it up just fine, but when you talk, it doesn't.
It's been doing that. I'll just come on some other time. I don't want to hinder the show.
You're not going to hinder nothing.
Yeah, you know.
I just
I wonder if you need to do a network reset on your phone. That's sometimes I got to do that to reset a lot of my stuff on my phone to make it work better.
okay. Let me do that right quick, and I'll come back on.
Okay, bro. Um, delivering 5 kids, peeing myself. Don't get a golden shower. It's not fun. They lied to me. Have an option. Oh yeah, we'll ask him about the paracord thing because it sounded like he was messing with the paracord, and so that makes sense. Unreal. Oh. I may have spent some time in Japan, and let's just say extra money comes. Sometimes you need it.
Ursa's making Marcy laugh too much.
I am too. Drip, drip, drop goes a little golden shower. We're all getting wet, and we don't like it at all.
Oh God. Oh.
Yeah. My gosh, my allergies are whooping my backside. So, but no, I mean, with all these things going on, like I said, I'm not. Eh, eh, yeah, yeah. Being sarcastic. Were you? Were you really being sarcastic? Oh, wait, hold on. Which one was that? Which one was that? Which one was that? 9. Stopa.
He's just laughing.
There we go. That was the one. You're being sarcastic? That was the one I was looking for. I couldn't help. Oh man, none of us are sarcastic on this show. That is just not professional.
Joanne missed the last 10 minutes putting together her grill.
Ah man, I've been using the tar out of my grill lately. Ah, I love my grill. Ain't nothing better cooking than a grill with a smoke bomb on it. Man, that's a giggity, 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 goo. Oh, all right. Very true, Bounty. And in my family, crap talking is like huge.
All right. How many of you watched the Generation X videos on Facebook and all that? Tell me the truth. Those are hilarious.
Yeah. What's sad is I look at and I listen to that stuff. I go, "Yep, I did that. Yep, I done that. Yep, I got the scars to prove that one."
I mean, you got to think. You got to think about it. Okay, we are the type of kids that when we grew up, we were literally taking our bicycles, making wooden ramps out of bits and pieces of wood and cement blocks, and jumping over our friends lying down on the ground, and hoping that we clear them with our bikes. So I mean, we were the type of kids that would jump off of the old antenna towers with garbage bags for parachutes. I mean, we did all kinds of crazy shit, and we're still here. So
Yeah, yeah. I've heard a lot of things. A lot of them I can't say on YouTube. Yeah. So, yeah. So as I say, I've done that, and I've got the scars to prove it. I remember, man. Usually, if you come home with a scrape and you get slapped in the face for crying, you get iodine rubbed all over your scrape, and you're told to go back outside. You'll survive.
exactly.
Yeah, my mom loved that iodine. Come in that glass red um, jar. They had the little
Yep.
dropper. Sometimes the little brush, but generally was a dropper. And man, that stuff would sting, but it cured
Yep.
everything.
Yep. And we'd
I
have
wish
the
I could get my
reaction.
hands on some.
We had the reaction when it was put on our cuts and stuff and our scrapes, like Bigfoot did in Harry and the Hendersons.
Yep. Urso, you are 100% correct. Now, the last time I was in Okinawa, Japan, which you can't call Okies Japanese. They get pissed. They don't like that. They're not Japanese. They're Okies. But anyways,
Okie
Jackass was there
dokies.
when they filmed in yeah, when Jackass filmed in Okinawa. I was there. So we were just getting finished with our cold weather training in Mount Fuji, Japan, where the samurai used to train. And well, Marines with adult beverages and Jackass being there, it was a fun day. It was a really fun day making homemade Jackass videos.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was
We did
great.
all kinds of
My
crazy shit.
I had a private that got a Prince Albert. And if you don't know what a Prince Albert is, it's a type of piercing that I can't really talk about on here. And he did it without permission. So it is like freezing rain. He just got this Prince Albert done, and we made him belly slide through the water, and it froze. It was great. It was
You
good.
know, back in 1970, what was it, 78, my buddy of mine and myself, we acquired this 72 Ford Maverick. And we literally kicked out the windows and all the glass out of it, out of the doors and out of the windows all the way around it. And we put chicken wire in it, and we drove it down to the gravel pits, and we drove that car and rolled it hundreds of times until it quit running. That's how crazy it was
Mm.
back then when we were growing up. So, you know, I mean, we did all kinds of crazy shit, and we're still here. Generation X hasn't gone anywhere. So,
Show of hands. Who's done hood surfing?
oh God, yeah. Yep.
Yep. Yep. I may or may not partake in such dangerous activities and wondered how the hell I'm still alive. Who here has jumped out of moving vehicles into snowdrifts? Like
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
surfed a sled behind a truck during snow.
Yep. Even
Yeah, man.
inner tubes after it rains. We would do that after it rains in the grass. We would get on the inner tubes and be drugged behind the pickup trucks.
Inner tubes in the snow is
Oh yeah.
the bomb.
Yep.
Dude, you pick up so much speed and you got to jump off that dude just right because there ain't no stopping no inner tube on the snow. I mean, it is just whoop, and you're gone, man. And you remember you got to roll off just in time so you don't hit the barbed wire fence, which my brother did and it jacked him up. And you hit that snow and you're just rolling, flinging snow and body parts everywhere. It was so great.
Ice snowball
Yep,
fights. Yep.
hilltopping.
Yep.
Yep,
All
hilltop. Yeah.
kinds. I mean, we did all kinds of crazy shit. I mean, you're talking to the generation where Evil Knievel was our freaking goal, you know, in life.
Oh,
So, you
geez.
know, I mean,
Hey, Jason. Hey, we're from the generation of chicks dig scars.
rub some dirt on it. It'll stop bleeding eventually.
God, man. I remember you getting like a massive crash out and you got blood everywhere, dirt, gravel all in your skin, and you're cut up. And you don't say a word. You just get up and look at the hot girl next to you. It's like, I did that for you. I mean, that was the crap we would do.
Oh
Oh,
God.
God. And then when she wasn't around, you're like, oh, that hurts. But you could not do it in front of the hot chick. You just could not do that in front of the hot chick.
Oh
Ah,
man.
yeah. It's, oh my gosh.
The good old
Yeah,
days.
evil. Oh, dude, on the face, that would suck. I had it on my chin once. Yeah, but usually it's like, man, I got scars all over my legs and body. And
How many of us out
nine.
there had a pool and we did belly smack contests?
Oh, belly flops. Yep.
Yep. I still compare scars to this day. I'm riddled
Yeah,
with
dude.
them.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to spit backy juice on mine. Backy juice will. Okay, Corey. No worries, man. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I don't know what's. You may have to look at getting a headphone with that's got microphones in it, bro.
I might, Corey, send me your address on Messenger if you can, because I'll send you some headphone stuff that I have that I'm not using. You can use it for your podcast too if you want. So
I've jumped off of the roof into the pool and off a roof onto a trampoline before. Dude, you get some sick air jumping off a roof onto a trampoline.
I got
You
one
get
better than that. One winter, it snowed so much that the snow was up to the gutters of the house, and we literally
Oh yeah.
took our sleds off the roof of the house down into the yard and down the hill. And I mean, we were going
Mhm.
probably every bit of 60, 70 miles an hour down the hill on a sled.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I hate to hear that, Jason. Yeah, man, down there in Pineville, we got a place called Big Rock. Um, and that's over by Testerman's Cave. And we used to jump off that rock into the river all the time.
way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, we got wild
Yeah.
as a
It
hoochie
gets
coochie.
hot and hoochie coochie. We laid rubber on the Georgia asphalt. We got a little crazy, but we never got lost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I miss that younger time. I still climb trees. I absolutely love climbing trees. Oh God, yeah. The first time I did backy, I was 3 years old, and then I was told, if you think you're man enough to do it, then do it. By God, I proved to him I was man enough when he was looking. When he wasn't looking, that was a different story.
yeah. Been there, done that. High
Yeah.
diving off of the middle of nowhere into a shallow pool of water. Yeah,
Oh God. Yes.
yeah, that's insane, man. Some of the stuff we went through, though, man, my God, you know, you have to question it. Did it actually happen? I mean, you would think normal people would be dead from some of the stuff that we did when we were kids, but
Oh
nope.
God.
I mean, you're talking to kids that would have slingshot fights and BB gun fights and that kind of shit. We didn't have paint guns back then. You know, we actually did the real shit. We didn't have Nerf. you know,
No.
we used BB
Long
guns.
dart.
Yeah, lawn darts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, got long darts, man. Whew, those things were deadly.
And who in the hell ever invented that deadly weapon to begin with? That was a hell of a weapon, a lawn dart. I mean, think
It
about it.
was. It was.
Big freaking
Oh God,
hunk
it
of
was so
metal
fun.
with four big plastic fins on it, or three fins,
Yeah.
depending on the manufacturer. Holy shit! You talk about a suicidal freaking dart, metal dart. That was it, man.
We used to sit in a tight circle and have a knife on our fingers and flick that knife down and try to stick it in a chunk of wood. You don't know how many times I went through the top of a shoe.
Yeah.
let him in. Yeah. For some of the stuff, I agree. We were the generation that created warning signs because of crap we did.
Yeah, we did. We literally we did, man. That's no lie. We were literally the poster child for warning signs. So, and if we went back to the house injured and complained about it, boy, did we get our asses hit.
Yeah. And Robin, that's the same way I learned, man. You did. You learned you either swam or you drowned.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Man, and I used to ride three wheelers everywhere, them easy flipping things, man. We'd roll them things on top of us, get up and laugh, spit up some blood, and get back on it and go again. Heck yeah, Joanne. Yeah. Knife games. Yep, we would do that. Literally, you'd hold the knife like this, and then you got to flick it down and try to stick it in a chunk of wood. And you probably got about that small of a circle of just nothing but toes, and you're trying to flick this stuff down onto there.
Oh, what about the knife game that we would put our hand on the table and put our knives between our fingers as
Oh,
fast as we go?
dude, yes. That and bloody knuckles with quarters.
Yep.
You don't know how many times you get a quarter stuck in a knuckle. You do it right.
Yep. We did some crazy shit.
Yeah, cool.
man.
Yeah, man. Oh, is that you? So Ryan, if that's Ryan, I think that's Ryan, ain't you, Ryan? If that's the case, I mean, yes. Okay, never mind. You're definitely Ryan. I can tell by the logo. It's changed up the everybody's deal. So I'm trying to remember what everybody's old school stuff is, and that's why I'm like, It's good to see you, buddy. I was actually about to text you when I was getting off of here.
Yeah, so was I today, but we continued the conversation about Generation X. So, all right, Ryan,
Yeah.
what's some of the craziest thing you've done?
Yeah.
What's some of the? I want to hear from Ryan. What's some of the craziest things he's done as a child? Come on, Ryan.
Do you remember? You remember playing King of the Hill on top of the metal jungle gym course?
Oh my God, yeah.
Dude, you cracked some skulls.
Not only that, you'd bust your jaw, your teeth, all kinds of shit, and you'd still have to go back into school and stay out the rest of the day because there was no going to the damn school nurse because the damn school nurse
Yeah.
was hardly ever there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we were throwing haymakers, knocking people off them 10-foot tall freaking metal things of death. It was so great.
How about the metal spinning death thing?
Oh, dude, I love those Miracle Ground.
Yep, we used to
Oh,
run those things into the ground, man. Hang on for dear life, and you'd spin your legs, and your feet would be way outside, and you'd be holding on for dear life. Oh my God! And then you'd let go, and you'd fly across the freaking playground. Oh my God! Yeah,
yeah.
insane.
Yes, dude. One of my favorite things to do too is when we get it spinning so fast, I kick my feet up and I hang on to the bar and like I'm stuck, woo, on the outside trying to hold on, and then you lose your grip and you go flying, dude. You hit the ground, ow, roll,
Mhm.
stop on the tree.
Yep.
Just fun.
Even the punishment back then, when we were kids, it was harsh. I mean, think about it. How many of you ever got called to the principal's office and got spanked with a wooden paddle with holes drilled in it? Okay.
Oh God, yes.
So, I
Crab
mean,
ankles.
and not only that, how about they had in elementary school where I was
Yeah, bro.
at, they had something that would literally take you away from your recess periods and give you a trash bucket and make you go out in the field and fill it with rocks. And you'd have to carry it. You'd have to carry the bucket all the way back, empty it, and then go out and get another bucket of rocks. And you'd have to do that the entire time everybody else on the playground was playing. You talk about cruel and unusual punishment. I'm telling you guys, if you're not Generation X, you ain't done shit.
Yeah. I can relate to Ryan on this one so much. Yeah, it don't matter what color it was. Because one time I jumped off my parents' roof wearing a black towel. It didn't work. I figured a red one would work since Superman's cape is red. Also didn't work. Yes. Yes. I may or may not have partaken in activity just like that. Yes. Yes.
I never did anything like that. I used to climb the 60-foot ham radio tower that my old man had, and I'd jump off the top
Mhm.
of it with a garbage bag, a big black garbage bag, as a parachute. And let me tell you, 90% of the time you wouldn't land right. That's for sure. But you didn't once get up and
Yeah.
complain. Not one time would you get up and complain.
Yeah. So during typhoon season, when I was in the Marines, uh, the stores were sold out of adult beverages, right? So typhoons is a hurricane. Just on one side of the hemisphere, it's called a hurricane. The other side's called a typhoon. And we usually lived on the third and fourth floor. I can tell you now, during typhoons, with 550 cord, a cartridge belt, and a poncho, and as long as you're not like over 200 pounds, you can make a pretty good parachute that you will, to a point, softly land on the ground below.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely she's spoiled. Um,
How many of you
but
guys
yeah,
out there, when you were kids, the boys especially, remember the old SSTs or SSPs that you'd pull the ripcord and it was one big wheel and it would run fast and
oh
you'd make ramps with it and stuff and do all kinds of we used to go after birds a lot and shit in the yard with them, and try to hit bees, bumblebees out of the sky. I mean, we did all kinds of weird shit with those things.
yes, like Ryan says, don't ever use a three main slingshot to launch snowballs. Turns out cops don't like having their windshields broken.
Oh
Oh my
man,
god. God, I remember making homemade slingshots out of broken bicycle inner tubes and
yeah.
a piece of, let's just say, women's boulder holders. We'll just use that, leave it at that. The things work pretty dang good.
You know what we used to do? My father even helped me out with making this one time, and I wish I would have kept it. I could probably
Mhm.
make it again. Just took two by fours and a one of those compression things that are on a screen door to slowly close your screen door. We used to take
Mhm.
those and we'd make homemade cannons out of them.
Mhm.
And what we would do is we would mount them on the metal antenna frame bracket and mount that on a 2x4 backboard. And we would literally put like 8 firecrackers in it and twist the fuse together, pull it through the hole in the bottom opening, unscrew the top to where it was like a barrel, and we'd shove golf balls down in there and we would light it, and those golf balls would shoot at least 200 yards.
Yeah. Oh man, yes, we used to have so much fun. Man, back in the old days when over the shoulder boulder holders were made right, and things were good.
Yeah. And think about it also, man. Back in the day, our mini bikes didn't have brakes. Our brakes were our feet.
Yes. Yes. I remember when the brakes went out, you're like, shit. I've once floated down the street in a raft after monsoon flooded on over the roads. The only reason why I want to be in the concrete jungle is when it rains so hard, you got a nice little river going in the streets. I want to get a inflatable unicorn and wear a pirate's costume, going down with the Captain Morgan stance down the road in my inflatable unicorn. I so want to do that. I'm still a big kid, man. I'm 46 years old. I'm still a big kid, man, and I so want to do that. It's like one of my things I want to do before I pass on from this realm.
Oh,
Yep, I've ate a lot of icicles and a lot of snow cones. Well, and snow cones, Brian. Yeah.
All right. Where was our topic after we got off the rails here? What's David saying? I
I
got to
don't
see
know
what
'cause we
David's
got
saying.
to
What's David saying? Where is it here? I used to. Oh, yeah. Hold on. I got to read this. Here's David's. I used to take firecrackers, cut them open, wrap them. Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I used to do that too. Oh my God. I thought I was the only crazy SOB that did that as a kid. Oh my God.
Dude, they make a good pop.
Yeah. Those, and remember the old cap guns with the roll of caps that you used to get? We used to load those up and pack them in like a paper bag real tight, and we'd curl the
Yep.
top of the bag, somehow tie it together with string, and we'd light the whole bag on fire, and all of a sudden you would hear pop, 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 pop.
Yep. I have to
Oh
raise my
God,
hand
yeah.
on that one, Ryan. Yeah. Yeah. It was like a rite of passage. My God, the things we did.
Why do I always think of the movie Porky's when we talk about stuff like that?
Because we've all done it. That's why
Yeah.
I love the Porky movies. I got them on DVD. It was like, yep, I so did that.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Yeah. I was a hellion when I was younger, man.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I was so bad that when my senior year, I was with one of my teachers. I was 20 and she was 23, and she wound up pregnant. And I was like, okay. It's like, because she came to school crying, talking about it. I was like, okay. I said, well, I
Yeah.
graduate. We can't say nothing or do nothing until then. And after that, she goes, no, you don't understand. I don't know if it's yours or my husband's. And I went, you got a husband? I've been to your house how many times? I've never seen a picture of him, never seen a wedding ring, never seen him. Apparently, he was one of those guys that goes out, hunts big game. That's why he was
Mm,
never home.
mm. How many of you actually started working when you were like 12 years old? Because your parents
Before
told you
then,
that in order for you to get something like that new shiny bicycle you wanted, you'd have to pay
yeah,
for it yourself.
yeah. I mean, I've been working since I was 8, and I've been paying a tax-paying job since I was 15.
Yeah, I was tax paying job when I was 12.
Yeah. I mean, I worked farms, I worked mowing. I mean, I was a farmhand for a long time. Yeah.
Yep, I worked all kinds of stuff.
Oh, dude,
My
the
first,
cap guns.
yeah, yep.
Eh, sorry, man. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I seen that cap gun. I was like, God, I missed the cap guns. Now that you said it, I can actually smell it now too. That's what's sad. That stuff is like ingrained into your nostrils till the end of time, and all you got to do is say it. And yeah,
Oh,
hell yeah. I was always playing Billy the Kid. Yeah, I was always Billy the Kid or Jesse James.
what was everyone's first
Bella
job?
Bumper.
What was everyone's first job in the chat? That's what I like to know.
Yeah. What?
I'd like to know what everybody's first job was in the chat.
Mowing.
Mine was working at a miniature golf course, putt putt.
Dude, you can meet a lot of chicks at miniature putt putt.
I used to drive the Jeep that went out and picked up the golf balls from the driving range. You know, the one that had the cages around the windows and shit that everybody used to try to hit. That was me in the Jeep. It was
Oh,
actually an old Bronco.
oh man. The reason why I joined home ec in middle school wasn't so I could learn how to cook, because I was doing that stuff, and so it's because all the hot chicks were in home ec.
Yeah.
I once pretended to be Godzilla and used a hairspray bottle and a lighter.
Oh, oh my
Not to
God.
say that I've never done that. The
Oh my
results
God.
were not great.
Oh,
Still
we
made
got
it
to get
out
Ryan
those
to
dirt.
come on. Ryan, you gotta grab the link in the chat and get your butt on, man. Seriously, dude. I got to hear some of the
Oh
shit you
god.
used to do. Oh my God.
I
That's hilarious.
Dude, old school hairspray was a freaking flamethrower in a can, man. God,
One
I bet
word.
burnt a few
One
photos.
word. One word. Aquanet.
Oh, yes.
That was the hairspray back
Did you?
then. Aquanet.
Yes, Aquanet. Yeah, that was the most expensive, most hard. I mean, you spray your hair with Aquanet, you can bounce a bowling ball off that thing, and a bowling ball would shatter.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm curious. All in here is who's ever mucked stalls for a living. I've done that for a while too.
Yeah. My literal I used to have two jobs. I'd get home from school, and on Saturdays and Sundays I would deliver newspapers. But on the rest of the time after getting home from school, I would work on the farm a little bit on the garden and stuff, and I would also work at the putt putt, the local mini golf place, driving the Jeep, picking up the golf balls out in the driving range. So, and I used to love seeing people try to hit that Jeep trying to pick up them golf balls. You could tell the ones that were really trying, because they would get so frustrated because they'd miss, and they'd slam the clubs down on the ground and all kinds of stuff. It was funny, but I used to love it, man. That was the
Joanne,
greatest. That was the greatest job.
oh, Joanne, I did that in the '80s, and the sad thing was, my babysitter collected all the money, and me and my little brother did all the work. My little half brother, we did all the work, and my babysitter collected the money. I remember that every time it rained, we'd be out there flashlights, gathering, getting 5-gallon buckets full of night crawlers, and she would take it into the local place to sell them for fishing. And she collected all the money. I was like, dude, that ain't right. We did all the work. This is silly. I was a home ec expert, sewing and all that. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, man. When I was in middle school, that's why I joined home ec. It was because the hot girls were in home ec.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I was thinking that, Ryan, but I wasn't going to say it. But I was thinking that because yes, Aquanet was
Oh God, that was the
Hey, they're
thing,
not
man.
bad either.
Aquanet
Yeah.
was really a great torch. It really was. It was perfect for torches.
Yes. Everybody's talking about Aquanet now. Dude, Buck and Hay, Jason. Oh yes. I started out 5 cents a bell, moved to 10 cents a bell, and I thought I was high on the hog when I was at 25 cents a bell, Buck and Hay.
Yep. You definitely get a workout bucking hay. That's for damn sure. So,
Yeah. Yeah, my first tax paying job was $4.25 an hour. And I had more money then than I do now. And I make 21.88 an hour. And I had more money back then than I do now.
you know how much mine was?
A dime.
Oh, smart ass. No, no. Mine was $2.85 an hour.
I couldn't resist on that. It just popped in my head quick. Oh, yeah, it's amazing, but I'm serious though. I mean, I used to drive. Gas back then bounced between 76 cents to 96 cents a gallon, so I could literally fill my truck up for less than $20. I had a 20-gallon tank. That's back when I had a 69 GMC 3 on a tree Granny Low. It was an old fire truck, and $20 would fill your tank up, and you'd have money left over for a can of baccy. All for $20, dude. I literally drove all week on $20. I can't even do that on $80 now. And we're supposed to have vehicles that get better gas mileage.
How many of you actually? Let's see. What else did we do? How about the? You remember the? Oh God, what were they called?
Give me Cody Rhodes. Hey, Candence.
What did they call them? You remember that? What the hell did they? I can't remember the name of them now. But you used to take like a yo-yo basically, and you would clank them together. They were two balls that would hit together on a string, and you would try to racket them as quickly as possible. People used to rack themselves up with it all the time. I forget what they were called. Yeah. My God, I remember them things.
Oh no, they weren't called clackers. That was the ping pong paddle with the clackers on it. Never mind. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of them either. But man, oh man, they were big back in the day. Didn't take much to entertain us. It just took the outdoors basically to keep us entertained and adventure. The way it is today with some of these kids, oh my God, you can't get them off the damn computer long enough to even go outside.
I've done that a lot, Ryan. You'll be surprised how many people fall for that one. It's so much fun. Yep. Snipe hunting, which is a legitimate bird. And what's funny is we actually have a snipe hunting season here in Missouri. Legitimately. Yep. You ever took anybody snipe hunting?
Roxanne made 90 cents an hour. Look at that.
Yeah. I'm trying to get caught up on this stuff here. Wow. My first car was a 87, 14-year-old driving a 16. Oh, in 1987, 14-year-old driving a 69 Dodge Charger. Oh, Dukes of Hazzard, baby.
$1.25 a gallon. How many people remember the gas prices and stuff and shortages during Jimmy Carter's era as president in the 70s?
Oh, God. I heard about it, yeah. Dang. That was during the gas wars, wasn't it?
That was when all that crazy shit was going on in the 70s with the Cold War and the price of oil, and our country became so dependent on OPEC that we basically became their bitch for a while. So even to this day, we still are too dependent upon them. We have enough oil in our ground and around the waters around us that we don't have to depend on anybody. But for some damn reason, these oil cartels want to ship the shit overseas because they make more money at it, and then export it back to us.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you was done. There was a pause. So I was telling Bounty, yeah, it's a real thing. Socket wants to see what happened. Yeah, stick a fork in it because it's done type scenario with the little brother. Yeah, it was great being a big brother. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. 20 cents a gallon? Ew, and Christmas. I mean, that was back in the days of Fred.
I remember when it was 20 cents a gallon. It wasn't that damn long ago, you smart ass.
No, I do remember in the 80s, man. Like when I was getting gas for mom, it back in like the early 80s, it bounced between 20 cents and I think she was bitching when it hit 47 cents.
Here's one for all the Generation Xers out there. How many times did your old man send you down to the corner market to buy a case of beer and a pack of cigarettes with a freaking note.
Mom made me do that before.
Yep. Yep.
Actually, how I got started smoking and chowing, buying my own, because I would go to the local gas station and tell them what I wanted and handed them money, and I'd wave at somebody outside, and they'd wave back, and they're like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah, that's my mom."
Yeah. And back then, the beer to drink back then in them days was Schlitz, and we used to call it shits.
Yeah. You remember when you couldn't afford nothing and you wanted to drink so bad? I'm curious how many people was in the same boat I was. What was the drink that you could afford when you was younger, but it's like the most god awful drink you could ever had? You stomached it down and puked your life away and saw you could smell colors and see sounds by the time you're done drinking this stuff, praying to
Mad
the
Dog
porcelain god saying
2020.
you never go to. Yep. Yep. Oh, oh God, man. That is horrible vomits.
Yep.
He was
Mad
like,
Dog
I'm never doing it
2020.
again.
Yep. Yep. I
And don't
remember
get the
them
grape.
days. Yep. The grape,
Oh, don't get
the
it.
watermelon,
Yeah.
and the apple, and what else was there?
Orange.
Yeah, there was the orange, and there was one other flavor. I don't know if it was strawberry or if it was peach.
I believe it was strawberry, actually. I think it might have been. Just yeah, yeah, Ryan, dude. Mad Dog 2020. Oh my god. I watched a European dude chug a bottle of, it was raspberry, I think it was, or was it grape? I think it was raspberry Mad Dog 2020, because he said, "Oh, all the Yankees tell us, hey, this is good to drink," and he's like, "Never again." He was crying. He was so bad.
Yep.
I was just laughing because I was like, "Yes, I know where this is going."
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
My God, some of
yeah,
the shit
man.
that we did, man. Holy crap.
Yeah, you always found a local wino. And it's like, dude, I need some, Mad Dog 2020. I want this flavor here. And he goes, and I said, get yourself a bottle. So you always handed him enough money to give you a bottle and him a bottle, and he'd go in and buy both your bottles to come out, and we just go off. God,
I got pretty lucky. There was a cool dude in the neighborhood that used to have a souped up car and a Harley, and he used to go down and get me cases of beer and shit when I was in school, um, all the
hmm
time. As long as I gave him a little extra for gas and stuff, he didn't have a problem doing that. But yeah, I mean, some of the shit we did, I mean, my God, some of that shit's probably outlawed nowadays. It's probably completely illegal. I mean, think about it. You know, nowadays you can cut your nutsack off and call yourself a female, but you can't kick out the windshield of a car and roll it over 18 times in a gravel pit without getting arrested. You know, so I mean, it's amazing the way the world's changed.
yeah, yeah, man. Yes. Hey, Roger, it's good to see you. Oh, dude, a bad batch of moonshine. Oh God. Oh God, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, man. I've had white lightning that's, I swear to God, I could breathe fire after I was done, and it would eat an engine alive.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was so hot. Yeah,
See,
I love my
here
sun.
where I'm at currently, they'll put the moonshine in Gatorade bottles and Powerade bottles, and the cops won't even
hmm
know what you're drinking. When you're driving down the road. So you've got all these people driving around, and these cops around here are thinking they're drinking just Gatorade or Powerade, and actually, it's not that at
hmm
all. It's moonshine.
Yeah, I used to do that in
Uh,
school, man. I always took a big glass of coffee in with me when I go to school, and I mean, I'm talking a nice cup of coffee. It fit a
mhm.
half a pot of coffee in it. So what I always did is I always put about that much coffee in it. The rest of it was Wild Turkey 101. Yeah, made school so much more tolerable. Oh, dude, yes, the roller wash machines. I got my hand stuck in that once. Oh, yeah.
You know what I did with one of them before? Oh my God, me and a
What's that?
buddy of mine, a kid growing up across the street from me. my best friend growing up. Basically, we
Mm.
I think I said this once on the podcast years ago, but we literally went around the swamps and the pond areas around the property and collected hundreds and
Mhm.
hundreds of frogs and toads, and we filled up
Uh,
the washing machine that was outside with these frogs, and we put a piece of wood over it so they wouldn't get out. And my mom went out to use it one time, and she lifted the wood off of it and saw literally a couple hundred frogs inside it jumping around. And she, I'll tell you what, I don't think I sat down for a week after that.
oh man. Yeah, if I wasn't going in with a big cup of coffee, I was going in with a big cup of so-called orange juice that was mixed with it as well. A lot of times though with the orange juice, I was mixing white lightning with it. So I put about that much orange juice in my cup, and the rest was white lightning, and you couldn't see it. So yeah, I've done a lot. I remember when I used to whenever I wanted to go fishing and not go to school because I always got home from my parents did, and I learned how to forge my parents' signatures very good. So what I would do is I'd walk into school with a case of beer, and then I get kicked out of school for 3 days. Well, that's 3 days of fishing. So I just man, I'd hightail up to the Palmitar River, we call it the Palmy, and go fishing. And then I'd get home before mom and dad did, get the letter from the school. I'd forge their signatures and come back home or come back to school and hand them the deal. And just that was my routine, man. I
Hmm.
usually kept Wild Turkey 101 or Moonshine in my locker. And anytime we needed a top off, we'd get us like some orange juice, soda, or more coffee, and then top off our drinks during school. Yeah, I love my shine, man. I love my shine. Although nowadays, I can tell you my favorite shine to drink nowadays is apple pie or green apple. Oh, I love it.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, Marcy.
Yes.
Uh, I guess that's putting your ass on the line.
Oh,
Oh God.
yes.
Anyways, it's been great today, guys, but man, I'm getting exhausted. I really am. Um, been good reminiscing on some of the crazy shit we used to do as kids,
Dude,
like
it was so
jumping off
fun.
the swings, trying to get the swing to go over the bar of the swing set. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? That was a biggie too back on the playground days, trying to get the swing to go all the way over and all the way over and keep on going until you got it cranked up as high as you could get it over the bar, you know? Um, yeah, Jesus, man, the merry-go-round, the monkey bars, geez, man,
Hmm.
just so much crazy shit that we did.
That was fun. Tetherball,
Yeah,
instead of actually playing tetherball, you ran and hang on to that thing and try not to smack yourself into that pole.
yeah, yep. It's, you know, whatever happened to those games, man? Whatever happened to tetherball? Whatever happened to some of the games that we used to play back then, man? Some of the stuff we used to do, you don't see it
We
anymore.
probably
You
got
really
banned.
don't.
We probably got banned. Crap we pulled. Unreal. White Lightning is pure moonshine. It's not flavored moonshine. It's just 100%. Usually it's around bare minimum a buck 70 and above alcohol content. So White Lightning is just straight up shine. So when like remember the old George Jones song? Ooh, White Lightning. That's what he was talking about was shine, straight up shine. Now you got different flavored shine as well, but White Lightning is just a regular, unaltered, like I said, bare minimum. Usually
Gr-
about buck 60 and above bare minimum.
Basically, grain alcohol is all it is.
Yeah.
But, anyways, everybody, I'm gonna let Eric explain what he's got going on tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. We're gonna be coming on. It's gonna be me and hopefully Carl if he's still in the chat. We're gonna get into the subject of angels and demons and all that, and for tomorrow, and it'll be me and Carl hopefully, and maybe Corey can come on. I'd like to get Corey to come on if that's possible, So
Yeah.
Eric won't be with us because he'll be busy. But I'm going to let him explain what he's got going on today, at least. And then I'm going to cut this short because, well, not short, but I'm going to cut it and call it a day. And I got some stuff I need to take care of here, like eat. So
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I didn't
Eric.
realize that long. So tonight we got campfire chats with Eric and guests, and that's a safe place for you to come on and share your encounters. If you want to come on live, I'll bring you on live. If you just want to talk about it in chat, we'll talk about it in chat. And that's always done on Saturdays. Then tomorrow, I won't be on live in the morning. I should be back in time to go live in the afternoon. But, we got our yearly fundraiser coming up July 12th called Rock and Ride Fundraiser, where we raise money for Springfield Public Schools Coach for Kids. And then right after that, I'm going to be gone for a week because I'm going to our national rallies that we have once a year is down here this year. So I'm going to our national rally. I'll be gone that pretty much whole weekend. It's a song about white light. Oh, yes. Um, Tomorrow I've been looking in the Naxar, which is a type of vampire I've never heard of before. And I was looking into it when we were backstage and talking to William about it because it's an interesting deal to me. It sounds like something, and we'll get into that tomorrow night. I should be having the show information put out here in a little bit on that with the music to promote the show, but going to be in Bigfoot conference in October. I was never asked to go. I need to try to get the money so I can go. I want to try to go there. I've never been to, what's funny? As much as I've been doing this stuff for as long, I've never been to any kind of conference. I've never attended one. I have not one time. I don't know why. I need to. I know the past couple of years I haven't because I haven't had the money. But I'm going to try. I want to try at least go there as an attendee. So yeah, I've got that going on Sunday. Sunday morning I'm just busy because we got a lot of stuff going up for what we got coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So I apologize. I will not be available tomorrow morning. Outside of that, that's pretty much what I got. My Ihan Yar readers, keep an eye open. I'm hoping to finish the first chapter of that book, Skuggy Ulfrar. Operation Anaconda, which is the military fictional book that I'm working on because I want to get the first chapter done so I don't forget that storyline. That was the one that popped in my head yesterday, and I got to work on it. So keep an eye out for that. I'm a little over halfway done with the first chapter. So that is pretty much in a nutshell. This is me in a nutshell.
Well, and I want to take a moment before we sign off to congratulate Biker Bigfoot Ron Howes and his new bride, Christy Howes, for being married at the West Virginia Bigfoot in Sutton, West Virginia, this past weekend. I think it was today or yesterday. I think it was yesterday that they got married. And I want to wish them all the best in the future, all the happiness, and many more great anniversaries to come. So, Ron and Chrissy, if you're listening, we love you guys very much, and we want the very best for you. So, everybody, with that being said, question everything, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 11.
Peace, love, and blessings, everyone.
Through the mist we rise, a force unbroken, with banners high and hearts awoken. The sound of pipes, our war is calling. Like thunderous waves, our duty is falling. Stand tall, together we fight, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. In unity, our hearts shall sing the legacy of warriors through every reign. With battle cries, we forge our fate. In fields of valor, we elevate. As shadows loom, our spirits gleam. Brothers in arms, we are the dream. Fearless, we take the night with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. Unity, our hearts shall sing the legacy of warriors through every reign. As dawn breaks, we know our name.